Yeah, the estimated fuel needed was kind of a little bit of challenging, but
Okay, we can go over that if you want.
because like there's what one, two, three different formulas, and then and then fuel used equals total time times fuel consumption. But some of the questions on the quiz um, you had to really think about because in your mind you wanted to use the equation and it didn't require the equation at all. So
Yeah, I can pull up the quiz here and we can walk through that as well.
Please, which one it is again so I can pull it up.
So it's the fuel consumption and planning.
Copy. Thank you.
yeah, I think it says estimated fuel needed.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pull up the quiz here and we can take a look at it.
Now on the exam, do they have you or do you memorize a lot of the FAR, like the nine? Was it the 90.205 or something? Are you supposed to know that FAR, or will they quiz you on what that FAR is?
I mean, yeah, they'll have some questions pertaining to that. And also 91-205 is also just good to memorize in general because a lot of examiners on the check ride like to ask that question.
Because I know that has to
So
do with a tomatoes or whatever it is.
yeah, the eight tomato flames.
Yeah. So I knew it had to
Yeah.
do with that, but I didn't know if they would refer that back to a particular FAR and you had to know what that FAR was.
I don't think they'll like pertain it to like a FAR per se. Like they won't be like, which FAR is this? Because when I took the written, it didn't have us like list out like the FARs, but it'll be something like, what type of equipment is required for like
Yeah.
day VFR. It'll be
Because
like something like that, and they'll list like the
I haven't
questions
even,
out.
I mean, I really haven't even broke the cover on this FAR aim book. And I was like, I didn't know if that was supposed to be general reading or not.
I
Oh,
mean,
it,
it's good to know and like just like go over some of the regs, like especially the ones where we covered in like pilot
Right.
certification qualifications and regulations.
Yeah.
Um, I would personally like go through those ones, like the private pilot for hire ones, the
Yeah.
alcohol and drugs, the 91-205, which is your day and night VFR equipment requirements, going through that.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just like high level going through those and like going back through the lesson. And there was a couple other quizzes and lessons that we went over that talked about some regulations. So those would be ones. And the way the questions will be structured are the same way that they're like structured in the homework too.
Okay.
it, are we okay? I already know this answer, but I'm going to ask it because there is no such thing as a stupid question, just stupid people like me. Are we or are we not allowed to bring in the current FAR AIM book 2026 pre-tabbed with everything on it into the ground, the FAA ground exam?
Yeah, so as long as it's a current FAR aim, I mean, yeah, I would bring a current FAR aim with you that's tabbed out because honestly, that's going to show the examiner that you came prepared first and foremost. And then it's good that you have it tabbed out so that in case you do need to look something up, that you'll be able to find it faster.
Now,
Thank you.
is that for the check ride or is that
That's
for
for the
the,
check ride. So you're not allowed
okay,
to bring the the
right.
the FAR aim with you on the
The
written
FAA
exam.
exam. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
All you're
Thank you.
provided with on that, they give you a piece of scratch paper, a pencil, I believe like a ruler, and then they give you like the testing supplement book, which gives you all the figures, and that's all you have. Yep. So what Jay's got in his hand there, that's what they give you. Um, and then yeah, that's all the stuff that they'll
Okay.
bring, you're allowed to bring.
All right.
So okay, let me share my screen.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Of course, yeah.
Question regarding calculator, do they give you one or do you bring one?
They give you one. It's like a
Okay.
little basic, like one that you had, like, well, for me when I was in high school, it's just like a basic, like scientific calculator.
A square root?
Yeah, it does have square root on it, or it should. Yeah, the one I had did. So,
Great.
When I took my test, it was actually there's a little icon on the computer. You would bring that up and do your calculations on the computer. So it just depends on what they have.
yeah, so it's either going to be that or like they gave me when I took mine, like they provided me with a calculator. So, um, they should, but like if not, they have like the one on the computer too.
So
Sorry, go ahead. Please talk, Darren.
no, I was gonna say a lot of when you're going through the tests, that will cement a lot of these questions, because you keep taking the test, and if you get that one wrong and you do the test again, and that's gonna get those things, locked in. You'll just know automatically a lot, what a lot of the questions are. I love multiple guesses.
You mean the test we're taking with the class we're taking now, but this kind of test?
Yeah, for the written test, you're going to learn almost all the questions from the practice test that you're taking.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the scary part for me is the checker ride, where you have to verbally know or show them that you you know the answer. So it's a little easier when the answer staring you in the face as opposed to have to
Multiple
dredge
choice.
it up. Yeah, multiple guess, love them.
No, I do too. A, B, and C.
Sally?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to find this question. This is ahead of me, but what is this under flight planning?
So this one's the fuel consumption and planning quiz.
Okay, well,
Good, I didn't do that one yet.
If you guys, I mean, we can still go over it. Just follow along because I know John wanted to go over it, but don't worry if you haven't taken it yet. And we'll walk through like step by step, like how to do it. Okay, so which question was it again, John?
Let's see here. Aircraft burns fuel at a concentrated of 10.5 gallons per minute. That one, I think. I've got so many notes.
Was it fuel consumption and plan, or was it fuel estimating? Estimating fuel.
Yeah, estimating.
Estimating fuel. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, estimating fuel needed. I was going to say that's one we should have. Yeah, that's one we did this week on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it should have been homework. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. So I didn't recognize that question, so
You're good.
it's like, ah.
Okay, so which question was it?
I don't even know now. I'm trying to think. There was one where it was 3 miles, and you went 3 miles in 2 minutes.
Okay, I see that one. Okay. Let me just pull it up.
And I think I was trying to make it harder than it was, but
You're all right. Okay. Alrighty, I got it pulled up now. I just had to go a couple of questions forward. Okay, so it says, how fast are you flying if you travel 3 miles in 2 minutes? So for this one, we're going to need to calculate our ground speed and figure that one out. So,
And that's where I was trying to, use the ground speed equals distance over time, but that wasn't even close.
so for this one, we would need to do, you have 60 minutes in an hour, or 2
Yeah.
divided by 60 equals 0.033.
Yeah, I finally end up thinking, so man, I've got to break this 60 minutes down after about 20 minutes of staring at that question. I was like,
You're okay.
it's like, how
So
do I break
then,
this down? Yeah.
so then you would come back to the question here, and it's 3 miles in 2 minutes. So we would take 3 and divide it by that 0.033 number, and that would give us the 90 miles per hour.
Yeah, I knew it had to do something with, I had to break that 2 minutes down somehow. And that's when I thought, well, there's 60 minutes. Okay, I'll just divide, 60 into 2. And that's when I came up with the 0.33 or whatever it was. And I was like, okay, dadgummit.
Yeah, that's all you do when you get a question like this. So you would take, like, because there's 60 minutes in an hour, you would divide that by however many minutes you have, and then you would take that and divide it by 3, and that would give you how fast you're traveling over the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any other questions on the estimated fuel needed quiz?
There was one that I can't remember how it was worded.
Let's just go through it.
Let's see here.
Was it this one?
No, that was pretty easy. I knew the formulas pretty decently.
Okay. Just gonna skip ahead. Was it this one?
Yeah, I think that was one of them.
Okay. So if you burn 15 gallons of fuel in an hour and 10 minutes, what is your fuel consumption rate? So we have to remember again here that we have, the 60 minutes in an hour.
Right. So it'd be 70 minutes.
Right. So you'd have 70 minutes here. And then you have 15 gallons of fuel. And then so then you would have obviously like the 70 minutes. So we would take, 70.
Right.
We would take 70 over 60, and that would give us 1.16 for our hours, 1.167. And then we would just take that number and divide it by 15. So we would take 15 over 1.167, and that would give us 12.8 or 12.9 if you round it up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, converting the minutes over, and then you're dividing that by 60, and then you're going to take 15 and divide that by whatever you get from, which in this case was the 1.167, and that's going to give you your fuel burn.
Yeah. You have to get to that point where you can actually use the formula.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all you do. So if you see like the minutes, like the hour and 70 minutes, so you would just do, you would get like the 70 minutes and then divide that by 60, and then take that number and divide it by 15, and you'd get your fuel consumption per hour.
Yeah. No, that's perfect.
Yeah. And a lot of these, it's, like with the ground speed equals distance over time, and, all that, like you're just kind of interchanging the way the questions are and like plugging and chugging. So it's simple like division to get to kind of where you're going with these ones. And Nick just kind of threw these ones in here too, because he kind of does it when he teaches like the cross-country flight planning, to do like your fuel consumption ahead of time. So you can kind of estimate your gallons of fuel. When I teach cross-country flight planning, obviously we're going to get into the fuel burn per leg next week, so on Monday. So I personally like to calculate the fuel burn using the E6B, so I get like each gallon per leg of how much I'm burning. And then like I add that up, and then I go and take what I got from what I planned, and then I add that to my reserves. So for day VFR reserves, it's 30 minutes. And then if it's nighttime, it's 45 minutes. And then most flight schools I've been to, they require at least an hour fuel reserve. And so
Oh, wow.
my flight school where I went to required an hour fuel reserve. So it was more than the regulation.
Better safe than sorry.
What?
That's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, so I would just take it like each leg at a time, and we'll work on that next week. And then I would add that to my fuel, like my fuel reserve minimum, which was an hour, and then that would give me my total. And yeah, Eva, I like that way too with the E6B, and we'll teach you guys that next week. We just didn't want to overload you guys with, calculating more like fuel consumption with this week with the lesson, and that's how we decided to like let you guys have it a stab at it with the homework. But we're also going to talk about the equation too on how to get your ground speed, your distance over time, and all that um, too for next week. So we just figured with the weight and balance lesson this week, we didn't want to overload you guys with more math. So
There's lots of that.
Would you be
yeah.
able to show me how to calculate the gallons with minutes for the fuel?
Yeah, so with that one, you would take, so if we were doing like this question here to calculate the gallons, so in this case, I have 70 minutes, and you would divide that by the 60, and that would give you the 1.167. And then you would just take that 15 and divide it by the 1.167, and that would give you the 12.9 or 12.85 is what you technically get.
So the 15 gallons divided by the 1.67.
Yeah, and we got the 1.67 from taking 60, 70, which is the total time we had, an hour and 10 minutes. And then we take 60 because there's 60 minutes in an hour, and we get 1.167. And then when you take 15 and divide that by the 1.167, you get 12.9. Well, technically it's 12.85, but we rounded up to 12.9. Yeah. Any other questions pertaining to the homework we had the other night, or just questions in general about any of the homework we've done? Or like any of the topics we've covered so far?
I'm generally lost in the sauce, as we say. But I'm going over everything again, and we're getting rain. Well, you
Okay.
too, probably. We're all getting rain Saturday, so I plan to spend 6, 8 hours in the office here, going through it, knocking it out, because I can't. I'll just leave it at that. So, I have questions, but I don't know what to ask. I hate to say that, but I'm just being honest. So, I'll get it. I'll get it. I
You're
might have
good.
more. I'm going to have more questions next. I'm going to have more questions next week after I tear into this tomorrow. But thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do now is let's take a 5-minute break, and then I'll get us set up for our game we're gonna play tonight to do another giveaway. So why don't we meet back here around 8:10 or 5:10 Pacific time?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your break. I figured we could play the Wheel of Names game again like we did last weekend and last week, and we could do a giveaway prize. So the top prize tonight, which I wanted to share with you all, is our friends over at Kore Aviation. So the one we gave away the headset for, they were kind enough to us, and they are going to be giving away a flight bag this week. So let me show that.
Oops, sorry.
You're
Let me
good.
mute myself. Sorry, I got to mute myself. Sorry.
You're good. So the first prize winner tonight will win a Kore Aviation pilot flight bag. And then after that, you'll either win a test prep book, the check ride prep book, or you can win a t-shirt or a hat if you already have either one of those. But the main giveaway tonight is going to be our Kore pilot flight bag. And then for like our second and third prizes, it'll either be the check ride prep book or it's going to be a t-shirt or a hat, whatever you prefer. So just letting you know that's what's up for grabs tonight.
Too awesome.
All right, so I've got everyone's names put in. So I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel. And we're going to kind of do it from last time, and I'll have you guys pick a topic. So Tyrone, you got the first pick. So just give me a topic that you want to pick from for questions, and I'll give you some questions on it. It's the same format as last time, so I'll ask you 2 questions, and as long as you get 2 questions right in a row, you'll win. Okay, so last week, Tyrone, we played this game. It's called the Wheel of Names. So essentially, we spin the wheel, and if it lands on your name, you'll pick a subject area. It doesn't matter. It's anything we've covered so far. So it could be airspace, aircraft systems. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions about it. And as long as you get the 2 questions right in a row, you'll win the prize. Does that make sense? Okay. So which topic would you like me to give you a question on? Okay. So let me stop sharing. So for this calculation, so how do I calculate to get my moment? So what equation would give me my moment? Yeah, that's right. Weight times arm equals moment. Do you want to stick on the weight and balance topic, or do you want to pick another category? And no worries, Sarah. Sorry about the service you've got driving up the mountain. Okay. So why don't we do an airspace question? So for airspace, what is my weather requirements for a Class Charlie airport? Yeah, 3 statute miles and clear clouds. So good job, Tyrone. You won the flight bag. Awesome. So I will have Nick reach out to you and he can go ahead and send that to you. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the wheel. And make a note of that. Okay. All right. So now, since Tyrone, since you won, your name is out of the drawing now since you won. So we're gonna call on someone else now. All right, Josh, give me a topic that you want to be quizzed on. Are you there, Josh? I'm gonna give it another minute and then I'll move on. He may have like some signal trouble. Oh, the signal dropped out. Okay, well, I'll give him a minute. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know why it dropped. Didn't drop on my end. Okay. Okay, yeah, no worries, Lonnie. Oh, maybe he lost signal. Okay, well, we can come back to him if he joins again. I'm just gonna spin again and we'll call on someone else for the sake of time. Eva, you're up. Systems, okay. Let me stop sharing and pull a systems question for you. All right, so this one I'm gonna do where I copy the answer and I put it in the chat. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, systems, we haven't really covered that in a while. So for this one, the question is going to be, what is the advantage of a constant speed propeller? And your options are going to be as follows. So you're either going to have A, which is it permits the pilot to select a blade angle for the most efficient performance, or you're going to have B, it allows the aircraft to land at a slower speed, or C, it decreases the stall speed. Let me just get your choices up here for you. Yeah, A is correct. So yeah, it's going to allow us to select the blade angle for the most efficient performance. So that's all a constant speed propeller is. So essentially you're just setting the blade angle to give you better performance and make it more efficient for fuel burn and such. So eventually someday, if you want to get your complex endorsement, you'll learn how to fly a constant speed propeller then and get an endorsement to fly aircraft like that. Do you still want to stay on systems, Eva? Okay. Let me pick another one. So for your question, Eva, it's going to be what are the four strokes of a common piston engine? So what are they? So here is your options. You're going to have either A, intake, compression, power, or exhaust. B, air, fuel, ignition, or combustion. Or C, open, mixture, ignition, and power. So those are your three options. Yeah, A's correct. Good job. So Eva, you can either pick, I don't know if you already have the check ride prep booklet, but if you already have that, you can either do a t-shirt or a hat, and I'll have Nick send that to you. Yeah, that's right, Lonnie. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Yeah, that's how it stuck with me too. Because remember with the pistons, with the strokes, so you have the fuel air mixture coming in for the intake. With the compression stage that compresses the fuel, then you have the power where the spark gets ignited, and then the exhaust, and that's where the exhaust blows out. Yeah, that's not an option, but yeah, that's a good way of remembering it, guys. Okay, I will have Nick get with you about the t-shirt size and where to mail it to. Okay, and I'm gonna do one more tonight. So let me get rid of that. I'll also double check and see if Josh reconnected. Nope, I'll take his name out in case. I'll also take Sarah. Even she's still on here, so. All right, let me share my screen again. Jay, you're up.
Okay, I have to do engines again. I have to recover from my football last time.
That's all right. Yeah, no, we'll do that.
Please, thank you.
All right. Let me get you an engine question here.
And this time I will ask for what are the answer choices?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so for this one, it's going to be as follows. How many magnetos are used in most single engine four-cylinder trainer aircraft? And I'm going to put the question in the chat, and then I'm going to give you your answer choices. So for A, we have 1. B, we have 2. And then C, we have 3.
The answer is, wait a minute, I gotta do this as how Jeopardy is. What is Bravo 2?
Correct. Good job. Do you still want me to stick on systems or do you want to go to another topic?
I like engines, please.
Awesome.
I'll take engines for 400.
Okay. Okay, so this one is going to be true or false. And you're going to have detonation is an uncontrolled firing of the fuel air charge in advance of normal spark ignition. So it's either going to be true or false.
Get this wrong, but no, I'm going to get it right. I'm going to say A as in alpha, true.
So it's actually false. This is the definition for pre-ignition.
No, not again. It's just like the last time. It was battery last time. All right. I don't get a hat. I don't get a t-shirt. We'll try next week.
Sounds
But
good.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. But who knows? It might land on your name again, so let me spin it again. Okay, I think we lost Sarah. I think she was in the mountain, but I don't see her on here, so I'm gonna skip her. I think she said she wasn't playing, so I'm gonna try this again. Ooh, John.
Oh boy.
You got this, John. Go get him.
Yeah, you got it.
Go.
Now, I looked like a fool the other day on METAR, so let's go METARs.
All right. Let me stop sharing and find a good one for you from the homework.
I need to learn that stuff.
That's all right. I mean, it takes practice. Like we talked about yesterday when we were doing our weight and balance examples, like you guys were really getting it towards the end, and like honestly, it's just taking repetition, practice, time, and you saw we worked through a majority of the homework problems, and like you guys were getting a good hang of it even in the beginning too. It was just little minor things that were tripping you up. So, okay, so I'm trying to get one that's not a table. All right, so I'm going to give you this and then I'm going to give you your answer choices. So if you see WS030 in a METAR or a TAF, what does this mean? And these are your options. So you either are going to have A, which is the nearest weather station is 30 nautical miles from the station reporting the METAR or the TAF. And then B, wind shear with wind speeds up to 30 knots. Or C, wind shear at 3,000 feet. That's C. So here's your three options. So which one do you think it is?
I'm gonna say wind shear up to 30 knots. B.
No, so actually it's wind shear at 3,000 because remember, if it was in knots, like you would tell KT at the end. And when it says 03, yeah, so
Okay.
since it has the 0 in the front and like it would be like it would say knots. So this one just is wind shear at 3,000 feet. But good try. I mean, it's a little tricky, obviously, because they throw in the 30 knots there. But yeah, if it had KT at the end, it would have been
Yeah, I
right.
just
But
thought of that.
since it says, yeah, the
Yep.
WS wind shear and then 3,000, that's all
let's stay
right.
with me. Stay with that one.
Okay. We will do that. Okay. Okay, so now if you see if the wind data in a METAR reads variable, oh, I just did that, gave that away. Sorry.
I said that's
Nope.
variable at 10 knots.
We're redoing that one because I can't help myself when I'm reading.
That was pretty easy.
Yeah, that was okay. I'm gonna shut up for this one because I'm not gonna try and give you guys the answer. Okay, so there's your question.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it because then I will, out of habit, give the answer away.
All right, let me try this.
So here's your first choice. I forgot to put an A in front of that, but that's A. And then this is B. When you look at these every day, like
yeah.
just it, it comes second nature. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that one's at it's coming from 080. So it's A is 080 degrees, is that right? Or what on the
so yeah, you got it.
12?
080 degrees. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
that.
Okay, degrees, yeah. At 12 knots gusting to 20.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
one's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's A.
I get
Yes.
confused on the first one, zero, and you've got
This here?
the 080, and then sometimes it'll because I think the other day you said we have to add a 0 to it or something like that.
That's the winds aloft. So we're talking about METAR right now.
Okay, no, I was just trying to. That's where I confused between the two of them.
Okay, so the
Okay.
winds aloft table only gives you two digits, okay?
Yeah,
So it would give
okay.
you 80,
Okay.
or yeah, and then it would give you 12 knots, and then they don't usually have a gust factor in those. It's usually like the highest wind,
Or they
and
give you the
then
temperature.
they give you the temperature, which is like plus or minus whatever the temperature is. And then if you go up in altitude, obviously since it's shorthand, sometimes they'll add 50 or 100.
Right. You gotta subtract 50 from whatever it is, and then
So they'll do that. Sounds good, Yvonne. Have a good night. Enjoy Germany. Okay. So do you still want to do you still want to stick with
well,
METARs?
that was two questions already.
Okay, yeah, no, you're good.
All right.
So we'll try again.
I need to practice those. So
You're good. Yeah. Like I said, when you guys practice this stuff every day, like you'll get good at it. Let me share my screen again because we just need to get one more. And that's what all this is about, is learning. So Darren, you're up.
Oh boy, I have to wake up now, huh? Um, Never mind.
You're
Trying to
good.
do multiple things at once. You know, you pick.
Okay. Let me go to something we haven't talked about tonight yet.
Oh man,
Don't
pressure.
worry. Don't worry. There's no pressure. Why don't we talk about adverse yaw? I feel like that's one we haven't talked about in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so for your question, the more lift your aircraft produces, the more it also produces what? So I'm gonna put your options. So your first option is gonna be A, load factor. And then your second option is going to be B, which is induced drag. And then your last choice is C, propulsion. So the more lift your aircraft produces, the more it also produces what? B. Yeah, correct. Induced drag. Yeah, because what is induced drag? Induced drag is a byproduct of lift. So the more lift you create, the more induced drag you're going to produce.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let me pick another topic.
And load factor comes with turns, correct?
Yeah, so you get load factor in a turn because of the weight of the aircraft because we're trading that vertical lift for some horizontal lift. So that's where we get the load factor from.
Horizontal lift, right?
Yeah, so you get horizontal lift. We still have vertical lift. We're just trading some of that vertical lift for horizontal lift. So I guess sticking to lift, what is going to be the number one contributor to lift? So I'm going to add and put your choices here in just a second. So the first answer choice we have is A for air density. Then we have B for wing plane form. And then C for airspeed. So what is the number one contributor to lift? Yeah, correct, Darren. It's going to be C, airspeed.
Well,
Because the faster we go, the more lift we're going to want to generate. That's why anytime you add power, if you're in the aircraft, you feel the aircraft want to pitch up. It's because we're adding more airspeed to it.
right.
Okay, so do
Good
you
job,
want,
Darren.
yeah, good
Thank
job,
you.
Darren. Do you want do
Good
you
job,
want
Darren.
do you want to
Thank you, sir.
check prep booklet or do you already have one of those?
Checking right now. Let's see. I got the written exam, and then I have the pilot test prep book.
Okay, so I believe the test prep booklet was the one. Let me just double check and make sure.
This one here.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Oh,
So
I'll take a hat then.
okay, yeah, that's fine. I will send this to so for all our winners tonight, I will send this to Nick and he will get in touch with you all and send you guys your stuff. But I'm gonna wrap it up here unless there's any more questions. Good job and congrats to all the
One question.
winners. Yeah.
Is
Thank
this
you.
the book we take into the FAA test?
Yes, they will provide that for you also, but
I'm going to read it top, front to back. Okay.
yeah, they will provide that booklet to you for the test prep. You can still bring it just in case, but they will provide
We
that for you.
we can
Okay.
bring this as long as there are no marks in it, correct?
Yeah. I mean, they would
Copy.
probably look through it high level. I mean, but they'll probably just make you use the one that they have because
They have
obviously,
disappearing
like,
ink, you know.
what?
You can get some disappearing ink.
Yeah, or you could do like pull up ones. I've actually, it's kind of funny. So this is like a funny quick story. So like
Let's hear it.
there was a story of a guy like one of the lady downstairs when I would take my tests for the written exam. She she was telling me that there was a guy at one of the nearby testing centers. He came in to the check ride and apparently he had like his shorts on and he put like the answers like under his shorts somehow. And like
Oh,
obviously they have cameras on you at all times. And some places will even metal detector you, I've heard. I've not had that happen, but like I've heard stories of people getting metal detected before going to the exam. And like I just don't know how this guy like I don't know why. It's like just practice the questions, study, like that's what's going to do better for you than like trying to like write down all the answers because I don't even know how you could do that because there is thousands of questions. There is no way like you could predict that you're going to get like these specific ones. So don't try and cheat. They have a locker that you put your stuff in. So you can do that. But I just, just bring your test booklet, but like they're just gonna probably have you use theirs. You could bring a calculator too, or a pen and a pencil. They just provide all that for you. And like you'll have to take off like any smartwatches and stuff as well. Um, so they have a locker you can put your stuff in normally. The place I went to did, so and the lady who like scheduled the test, she was really sweet. So
And it's a
um
60-question test, is that correct?
I believe it's 60 questions. I don't know off the top of my head how many questions there are. I'm pretty sure it's 60. It's
yeah, I
either
looked
50 or 60.
I looked it up the other day and Googled it, and it said it was 60 questions.
60
Okay.
questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal.
60
So-
out of umpteen million questions.
hmm So
Forget
that's
the
why it's
percentage.
good that we're here and we're practicing all these. And, when you're doing your homework, that's the formatting that they're going to be on the test. So that's why it's good to do the homework questions and practice. So, and he updates those pretty often so that it reflects like what's currently being shown on the test too. So we keep that up to date for you guys so you're getting the most accurate questions.
Too awesome.
Awesome.
Sorry.
So just to recap, for tonight, really quick, I'm gonna show like the schedule. So for this week, there's no new homework. It's just review and catch up on our homework. Monday, we're going to get into more of our cross-country flight planning. So we're going to do distance to climb to cruise altitude, distance to descend to destination, airspeeds, calculating airspeed during climb, calculating airspeed during cruise and descent. So that's what we're going to cover Monday. Like I said, if you have any questions at all, feel free to message us on Facebook. You can send an email to Nick on the email also. And then you can also call us on the phone number and we will answer your questions.
Great.
All right.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So Monday, make sure we have our E6B, correct?
Yes, that's another thing. Make sure you have your E6B because we're going to go over the other half of our flight plan and our performance calculations. So make sure you have your E6B.
Yes, ma'am. Have to blow the dust off it. So anyway, in summation, thank you, Allie, for tonight. It was a good session. Thank you for taking time yesterday out of your personal time to help us. I do appreciate, I think we all do, but I'm saying that for me. Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch. And John, this is for you. I believe you said you're going to go see your grandchild tomorrow.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. They
Yeah,
grow up fast. My grandchild, one is 16 already.
Wow,
So
that's
anyway.
awesome.
Yeah, good deal.
Thank you all.
You're
All right.
welcome. And anytime if you guys want to do another study session again, like if I'm available, like I don't mind to do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course, you guys have a great weekend.
All right. Take care.
Bye.